We got Notre Dame versus Miami in Miami. Miami paid some good bread to get Carson Beck in. You know, my Notre Dame Fighting Irish want to see Carson Beck on that Georgia team because, you know, people had excuses after we beat Georgia, you know, about Carson Beck. Well, we get to see Carson Beck this weekend, and he get to see our defense. You know, we're going to come out to Carson Beck. We're going to come out to Miami. We're going to hit them. You know what I mean? Let it be known that, you know, our defense is official. You know what I mean? We do got the corners. You know, we do got the guys up front. We got guys returning back that was injured last year. And just be ready. We coming out to Carson Beck. We're going to put some pressure on him. You know. And Notre Dame coming in with C.J. Carr. I think they're going to do all they can to get him comfortable. I think the big guys up front, they go lead the way, they go lead the charge. And Jeremiah Love, Price, Williams. I mean, the rail backs that Notre Dame have that they can throw at you is scary work, especially with those guys up front. You know, like I said, we gonna come out them with running the ball. We gonna push the ball down their throat. Let Miami know they not the U. They still just Miami Hurricanes. That's how I look at them. You know, everybody running around talking about the U. No, they're not the U. They're the Miami Hurricanes. You don't become the U again until you start doing some of those things that, you know, those guys like Michael Irvin, you know, Jason Taylor, those guys were doing back, Warren Sapp, you know, back in the gap, you know, and Miami not doing it yet. You know, you know, Cam Ward did a pretty good job last year. You know, Cam Ward did a good job for them last year. He was able to put himself in position to be the #1 overall draft pick. You know, shout out to Cam Ward. He did do his thing in Miami, but let's be honest, man. Notre Dame for the come show again that we here to stay, and we back to our old ways. We back to our old ways, you know, championship ways. You know, we went to the championship last year, wasn't able to finish it off, but, you know, I look back and say, you know, we had a lot of injuries. You know, we had a lot of injuries, and for us to put ourselves in that position last year was a tremendous job by the coaching staff. You know, shout out to Dan Brock, shout out to Coach Freeman. You know, shout out to the running back coach, defensive coach. The defensive coach left us and went to Cincinnati, but we're gonna be ready for Miami.